Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Smith, the Black VTF here, T3 Live. And last Friday, we talked about the power of the broadening formation, and here it is again. Get to know it. This is how things work: lower low, higher high, lower low, higher high. Oh no, bad jobs number. Boom, stop them all out. And she could come all the way back. Working on it, Spy. I'm taking off a little bit early today, and that's why I'm getting this while the market's still going. Going down to run the Notre Dame Marathon in South Bend, Indiana. But here you can see this beautiful, beautiful pattern. And I got a question on Twitter today: is this the result of algorithmic trading stopping guys out? And it is not. This is how things have always worked, and that's why I like to bring this chart up. This is an old chart, monthly SPX, and you can see here this is 1983 or 1964 to 1983. Same damn thing, and we did it here, and then a few years ago we broke through that. So this is how price discovery has to work, and this is what you want to know, and here it comes. So the beautiful thing about it, we look for those inside bars to show us the exhaustion. Boom, SPY goes down, goes inside 60, comes right up. QQQ does the same. How about Dow Jones Diamonds? Inside 60 calls the lows, and now starting to move back higher. So that's all fine and dandy. If we, depending on where we close here, you can see this big 60-minute SPY triangle. I'm trying to get towards the highs and trying to close out weekly as a momentum hammer. Now, some people would look at that and say, it's a hanging man, it's all over. However, if you had your chance to cover your shorts and you didn't do it, like on some day like today, and we start taking out the highs next week, yeah, we're going to stick it to you. You can see that on a 30-minute basis here. The strong trend, the momentum hammer, 30-minute, just completing right now. Boom, momentum hammer. We look for that kind of stuff. Real nice stuff. And of course, when the market's rallying, we know VXX goes to new all-time lows. Still having all sorts of problems here. And UVXY finally gets breaks below 10. And so we'll be getting ready for the reverse split barbecue that we have every year. So hopefully once it gets under 10, they start talking about that. Another thing that was interesting here is the TLT bonds also rallying. And if you look at the bonds, gap and sit, but on the monthly basis, take out that inside month. And I've talked about this for a while. The problem here is even though you take out that inside month, 4 months completely within February's range. So the real breakout has to take that out. Otherwise, it's a 4-month inside pattern. But certainly interesting. If we take a look at FAS, doji on the month. All right. So then this morning, you're like, oh, they're going to really kill him. I'm like, okay, well, they're going to bring him in. They're going to triangle him out. Let's take a look at the 60 here. What do we see here? You're going to see the higher highs, and you'll see the series of lower lows. Hello, you're inside 60 and off to the races here. And I'll get to a few more of those names there, but that's going to be important going forward if we're really going higher. And I've been pointing this out on the monthly for monthlies might take a while, but this series of lower highs in the FAS like that, and you're going to see that in the small cappers, and we know what the small cappers have been doing. They're starting to take that out now, and so we're going to be looking at those type of patterns. Those are the type of things that really could launch us into new highs. Starting off the morning, another clue that we had that we were going to come back, besides that things trade in broadening formations, doesn't mean they can't expand to the downside. But while this was going on, the yield chasers were back. XLU running, XLP up. So what that showed us is there was still rotation into the market, not the full blown everybody's gone. And so that was a good thing. That was a good indication that things were going to stabilize, and stabilize they did, and even more so right now. So another thing that I do in the morning, and if you follow me on Twitter at @RobInTheBlack, is I tweet out #MindTheGap, and what that is just a series of gappers, and that's our watch list in the morning. So GWPH this morning, a beautiful one, and you can see this. The opening fivers just did us great here. You got this inside 5-minute bar, which is an exhaustion or a rest before new highs, and look at that, boom, down. We also had AVGO. You can see this, inside 5 and then down. That was nice. AMBA, inside 5 or here to the upside. So some real nice opening trades there. So you might want to pay attention to that. Gap trading is something that you really want to be able to do because we want to be go where the volatility is. Then we're tracking a few things that were on the move after that. This LBIO little guy, and you can see this daily once they start screaming, and you know what to do. Get yourself an inside 60. And kapow, right there. And there's a few nice 15ers and 5ers in there, too, to get you some inside 15, inside 15. So some nice pops in there as well. Downside VMI, this thing getting collapsed inside 15 here. And just looking for these big movers and waiting for those inside bars can do you wonders, and especially when you use them in combinations. UDR. Today on that opening move, drops, takes the inside weak to the downside. which also triggers the monthly down, was also going bearish engulfing on the daily, and that's the kind of thing you want to. That's the kind of thing that's going to stay down, as opposed to everything else coming back up. We had a rig count that got the crude going, and even that couldn't break the market, as the USO crude is still inside day today, and so that'll be interesting. But when you had that 15er come up in here, an inside 15, which then turned into the inside 30 on the rig count, 30 down, RevStrat 30 back up, but still an inside day. So they, as much as they tried to hit them early, you have to take, when you take the bigger picture, what you're looking at here, even with the financials, oh, we're going to kill them, but if you look at the weekly, JP Morgan's still an inside week. Goldman Sachs still an inside week. So we'll be paying attention to that because we want to see when they hit them. Anything that doesn't take out last week's lows, certainly a lot stronger than anything that has. So next week, you got Apple going as an inside week. You got Netflix going as an inside week. The JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and then the energy, you got Schlumberger and Halliburton. Both going inside week. That's certainly going to have something to say about how the OIH acts. And you know what? You love it. Tesla, right in the middle of nowhere's land, going inside week, and that's what it should do. I get that question all the time. What about take a Tesla? And you look at the monthly, it's doing nothing, really. Here, it's right in the middle. But you got an inside week. So if it's going to start to do something, that's what it would begin to look like. So as we continue to recover here, and, if you look at the SPY, it's a matter of when do we get through all this stuff, and maybe next week, but then also breaking it down to the internals. And so we had the XRT retail been one of the weakers recently, and then starts to pick up again. Remember, the XRT retail is getting absolutely hammered, and now starting to walk back up. And you can watching these real beaten ones like Nordstrom. Here, finally starting to come back up. Macy's starting to come back up. You got KSS starting to come back up. You got Walmart still near the highs. And those discounters, DG and Dollar Tree, still strong. So the retail certainly an interesting space to keep an eye on going forward. And then the trannies. What is the matter with these trannies? The trannies just can't get going, and on the monthly basis you can see nowhere near this stuff. So the question is, how do we get out of here? This is going to be real key going forward, because we saw the utilities this week go inside week to the upside, and once they started running today, that's also momentum hammer daily. So you continue to see these patterns when I point them out. Momentum hammer gaps up, takes the weekend momentum hammer going out towards the highs. It's also the triple threat, because you've got inside mountain up for the Utes. So we want to focus on that and see if these trains can go, because these airlines, American Airlines, these are pitiful. So these things not helping at all. So we did see some strength here a little bit today in some of the rails. Norfolk Southern, CSX is coming up. That's inside week to the upside. Still on the month, you've got Union Pacific. We had CP Rail. So certainly going forward, I'm going to watch. I'm going to be keeping an eye on these trannies, because the Dow Jones doing its job. The Utes doing its job. So how do we get out of here? And you can see that higher high, slight lower low, now back in the middle, to see if we can use this as a measured move and start ripping up into here. So keep an eye on those trannies, and we'll keep an eye on how this weekly SPY closes out here to see if we can go momentum hammer and take that out next week. All right, that's going to do it for today. I'm Rob Smith, the Black VTF here at T3 Live. Hope you all have a great weekend.